It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. The words cut across centuries because they expose a truth many still resist. The man who seems quiet, who does not chase attention, often holds the sharpest edge of power. You know this figure. He stands in the room without trying to dominate conversation. He does not rush to prove his worth. Others dismiss him as timid or disengaged. Yet behind the mask of silence sits a throne. His calm is not a weakness. It is restraint, and restraint is the most disciplined weapon a man can carry. Society has been trained to see noise as strength. Speak louder, post more, demand attention. Yet Machiavelli warned that real influence rests in control, not in display. The quiet man controls himself, and by doing so he unsettles those who cannot. Think of the predator that crouches in tall grass. It wastes no energy. It watches. Its silence magnifies the fear of prey that knows death waits somewhere in the stillness. Restraint is not absence of power. It is proof that power is being saved for the decisive strike. This is why those who overshare, who explain every move, who seek constant validation, quickly reveal themselves as prey. They give their position away before the battle begins. They let others read their intentions like an open book. In the modern world, this looks like talking too much in meetings, posting every thought online, or defending yourself when no defense was asked. The weak surrender ground by filling silence with noise. The dangerous man does the opposite. He uses silence as armor. He knows that every unnecessary word becomes a weapon in someone else's hands. Picture the moment when someone challenges you in front of others. The instinct is to fight with words, to defend, to prove. But the most dangerous move is to pause, look directly, breathe, and let the weight of your silence force them to fill the space. They will stumble, expose insecurity, and reveal more than you ever needed to. This is not passivity, it is a strategy. By saying less, you command more. By holding your ground, you rule without lifting a sword. The enemy is dependent on noise. The weapon is restraint. The throne belongs to the man who masters himself first. Say less, command more. The mind is a throne. If you cannot rule it, you will never rule anything beyond it. Machiavelli warned that men are ruined not by enemies outside, but by the weakness they carry inside. History is filled with rulers who fell because they could not master impulse. Alexander, undefeated on the battlefield, drank himself into an early grave. Roman emperors like Nero destroyed their own empires by indulging every whim, mistaking appetite for authority. The pattern is clear. When desire takes the crown, the kingdom collapses. In your time, the invaders are different, but no less dangerous. They are distractions disguised as comforts. The endless scroll of a glowing screen, the compulsion to respond instantly, the constant pull of notifications. Each is a soldier storming the gates of your inner fortress. You surrender not with swords, but with attention. Every moment stolen weakens the garrison. The throne becomes occupied by the noise of others, and you find yourself ruled instead of ruling. When you wake and your first act is reaching for a device, you have already allowed the enemy inside the walls. The dangerous man sees this battle for what it is. He treats his attention as territory. He trains his mind as a general trains troops, knowing that disorder in the ranks leads to defeat. He sets boundaries, not to retreat from life, but to dominate it. By refusing to let distractions dictate his thoughts, he builds sovereignty over himself. This is not withdrawal, it is fortification. Silence, discipline, and deliberate thought become the walls of his citadel. Picture a king who hands the keys of his fortress to unworthy guards. They betray him, opening the gates to marauders, and the throne is toppled without a fight. This is what happens when you give your mind away cheaply, to anger, envy, fear, or trivial temptations. You are conquered, not by force, but by consent. The remedy is ruthless. Guard the gates, deny entry to what weakens you, and remember that every impulse you indulge without command is another brick removed from the wall. To master your mind is to sit firmly on the throne of your own life. Fail here and no victory elsewhere matters. Win here and every battlefield beyond becomes easier to dominate. Rule the mind or be ruled by it. Morning is a battlefield. The way you enter it determines whether you advance or collapse. Throughout history, generals and rulers understood that the hours before dawn were not a luxury, but a weapon. Napoleon often rose before his troops to survey the field, using those early moments to prepare strategy. Roman commanders marched their legions at first light, striking while their enemies were still sluggish. The principle is simple: position yourself before others move. Whoever controls the morning often controls the war. In your world, the enemies wear different armor, but they attack with the same force. Comfort, delay, and distraction ambush you the moment you open your eyes. The weak surrender to softness, hitting the snooze button, reaching for a phone, starting the day already reactive. By the time they rise, the battle has begun without them. The dangerous man refuses this trap. He wakes with intent, not because early hours are magical, but because they are unoccupied. The world has not yet imposed its noise. In that silence, you gain territory. Imagine two men, one rises late, rushing into the day already behind, decisions scattered, mind unfocused. The other rises early, claims the first hours, and sets the E. Rhythm for his mind and body. Weak, the day drags you. Strong, you lead the day. This is the dividing line between the prey and the predator. The predator moves first, staking out ground before the herd even stirs. The prey reacts, scrambling. For survival after the ambush, think of missing the dawn as arriving late to battle. The enemy has already chosen the terrain, fortified their lines, and dictated the fight. Your chances of victory shrink before you swing a single blade. The man who wakes without control of his first hours has already been defeated because he fights on ground not of his choosing. The morning is not just a time, it is a declaration of sovereignty. Guard it, command it, use it to sharpen your will before the noise of others storms the gates. March first, and the rest of the day falls in line behind you. Seize the morning and you seize the war. Stillness is a weapon. It unnerves, it confuses, and it forces enemies to reveal themselves. Samurai warriors practiced silence before battle, standing motionless with swords unsheathed, their calm presence striking fear before a single move was made. Roman commanders often stood quietly before addressing troops, letting anticipation build until soldiers hung on their words. These were not pauses of hesitation, but deliberate acts of power. They understood that restraint shapes perception. To hold back when others expect movement is to control the tempo of war. In the modern world, stillness has not lost its edge. You live in a chaos economy, where every platform demands reaction, where the loudest voices fight for attention. Those who respond impulsively are consumed by noise. Those who remain still, who delay reaction, hold an advantage. When you refuse to be baited, you dictate the terms. In negotiation, silence forces the other side to speak first, often revealing weaknesses. In conflict, pausing before replying unsettles aggressors, exposing their impatience. The man who resists the pull to react instantly becomes untouchable, because no one can predict his next move. Picture a lion hidden in tall grass. The herd senses something but cannot locate it. The silence stretches, fear multiplies. The lion has not moved, yet the battlefield already tilts in its favor. Stillness forces the herd into mistakes, running too early, scattering into chaos, exhausting themselves before the strike. This is the metaphor of power. The longer you hold your ground without flinching, the more others unravel. Movement is expected, restraint is feared. You will face moments where someone tries to provoke you. The weak instinct is to answer immediately, to fill silence with words to defend. Instead, remain composed. Let their energy burn out against the wall of your calm. In that space, you gain control. Weak, reaction. Strong, command. The difference is not in force but in patience. Stillness is not passivity. It is positioning. It is the art of conserving strength until the decisive moment. Master it, and you become the one who sets rhythm while others stumble to match it. Move last, and you move with absolute power. Machiavelli wrote that weakness and treachery must be cut away without hesitation, because indecision invites ruin. He observed that rulers who tolerated betrayal or allowed corruption to spread eventually collapsed under the weight of their own leniency. History confirms it. Princes who delayed punishment or kept faithless allies close were devoured by the very hands they refused to strike. The dangerous man understands that power is not preserved by accumulation, but by elimination. To guard the throne, you must cut quickly and decisively, even if the cut feels ruthless. Mercy shown to the wrong person becomes cruelty to yourself. In modern life, the enemies are subtler, but no less lethal. You are not asked to eliminate rivals with blades, but to eliminate the forces that waste your energy. Distractions, shallow. Relationships, addictions, and constant validation seeking are all forms of silent treachery. They sit at your table, smiling, while robbing you of sovereignty. The dangerous man draws lines. He refuses to spend his strength on hollow noise, refuses to tolerate circles that drain instead of sharpen, and refuses to allow small comforts to erode his discipline. Weak, keeping every connection. Strong, cutting ties when they serve no higher purpose. Weak, chasing endless stimulation. Strong, choosing silence and focus. Elimination is not cruelty, it is clarity. The chessboard makes the lesson clear. Victory does not come by clinging to every piece. It comes by sacrifice, by removing what no longer serves the endgame. Pawns are traded to control the center. Knights are offered to open a decisive line. Every great player knows that winning requires letting go. Life is the same. You must be willing to sacrifice comfort, convenience, even certain attachments if they block the path to sovereignty. The board is not won by holding on, but by knowing what to release. When someone questions your decision to cut something from your life, remain calm. Do not justify, argue, or explain. Simply state, "This no longer serves my direction." Your composure will silence debate, because clarity carries its own authority. The dangerous man does not announce every sacrifice, he executes it. Power is not built by addition, but by subtraction. Cut what weakens you, eliminate what distracts you, sacrifice what holds no value to the throne. Ruthless elimination is the price of sovereignty. The mask is a weapon. It conceals intention, shapes perception, and protects the throne. Julius Caesar charmed both allies and enemies by wearing the face of approachability while plotting with relentless calculation. Napoleon could appear calm and collected, even as storms of uncertainty surrounded him, unsettling rivals who never knew what he truly thought. History shows that men who revealed too much, every impulse, every emotion, became vulnerable. Those who wore masks endured longer because they controlled the narrative others built around them. In your time, the battlefield has shifted, but the principle has not. Today, exposing every thought online is like leaving the castle gates wide open. The dangerous man understands that privacy is armor. He does not broadcast his emotions with every post or display his entire life for approval. Weak, reveal everything. Strong, reveal nothing until it serves a purpose. The less people know, the less they can use. When you hide your moves, you keep others guessing. When you show restraint, you preserve power. Your silence and composure become the mask that unsettles those who crave predictability. Think of the predator in disguise, the wolf wearing the skin of the sheep. It moves unnoticed, watched without suspicion until the moment it chooses to strike. The mask is not deception for its own sake. It is a strategy. By controlling what others see, you decide when to reveal fangs. The herd may laugh at the wolf's stillness, mistaking calm for submission, until they are caught in its teeth. This is the essence of the mask of command. You control timing, you decide what image serves you, and you never hand the advantage to someone else. When others press you for answers, hold your ground. If someone demands to know your plans, resist the urge to explain. Simply respond with calm brevity. You will see when it is time. That answer carries more weight than long defenses. It signals that your direction is deliberate and cannot be shaken. You owe no one full access to your inner world. Protecting your face to the public is not dishonesty. It is sovereignty. The dangerous man is not loud, transparent, or constantly expressive. He is disciplined, guarded, and deliberate. He wears a mask that others cannot penetrate, a mask that conceals strategy while radiating calm command. Hide. Intention. Reveal strength. Every throne hides a blade, and the man who survives is the one willing to use it. Throughout history, power shifted, not just through armies, but through decisive strikes. Julius Caesar fell to daggers hidden beneath robes. Archduke Franz Ferdinand's assassination lit the fire of World War. Each act changed empires, not because of brute force, but because timing and precision turned a single moment into history. The lesson is not to imitate violence, but to understand its psychology. Decisive action shapes destiny. Hesitation destroys rulers. Swiftness crowns them. In your life, the blade is not steel, but choice. The inner assassin is the part of you willing to cut ties, walk away, and execute decisions without begging for approval. The man who cannot end a toxic relationship becomes enslaved to it. The one who cannot quit a dead-end job wastes years behind enemy walls. The dangerous man knows when to strike, and he strikes cleanly. Weak, delay, and justify. Strong, decide, and move. The assassin is not reckless. He is precise. He studies the moment, waits for alignment, and then acts without trembling. Picture sharpening an inner blade in silence. No one sees it, no one hears it, but it is always ready. You do not need to announce your intent. You cultivate it within yourself, invisible and deadly. The wolf that stalks at night does not roar before the kill. It moves silently, and only when the distance is right does it leap. Your inner assassin must be the same. Quiet, disciplined, concealed until the decisive moment demands its edge. At times, someone will pressure you to justify your withdrawal or your refusal. The weak answer is a long defense. The strong answer is brief, calm, and final. This path no longer serves me. Then you walk. No apology, no hesitation. The inner assassin does not linger over sentiment when sovereignty is at stake. You carry within you the capacity to be both builder and destroyer. Without the destroyer, the builder is enslaved to what should have ended long ago. Sharpen the blade of decisive action. Keep it hidden. Wield it only when necessary. Strike clean. Strike once, strike without regret. Throughout history, tribes understood that survival depended on honoring the wolf within. Warriors were celebrated not for restraint alone, but for their ability to channel aggression into defense and conquest. Among many cultures, the wolf was a symbol of loyalty, ferocity, and strength. To feed it was to acknowledge that danger, properly directed, secured the tribe's future. Neglect it, and the community fell to enemies who were less restrained. Strength was not built on suppressing the predator, but on sharpening it, teaching it discipline and unleashing it when survival demanded. Modern life starves this instinct. You are told to avoid conflict at all costs, to soften edges, to mute intensity. The result is a generation that mistakes weakness for virtue. Yet the dangerous man recognizes that aggression is not destruction when it is disciplined. It is fuel. He channels it into training, work, and decisive action. The same force that could become reckless is redirected into building businesses, mastering crafts, or protecting loved ones. Weak, suppress energy until it festers. Strong, convert aggression into progress. The wolf does not disappear because society demands sheep. It waits, hungry, testing whether you will control it or let it consume you. Imagine two wolves inside you. One is the sheepdog, trained to protect but hesitant to attack. The other is the predator, sharp, silent, and ruthless when needed. Only one can eat. If you feed hesitation, you grow softer, more dependent, more vulnerable. If you feed the predator, you sharpen your instincts, heighten awareness, and cultivate the confidence to move without fear. The balance lies in choice. The dangerous man does not unleash violence recklessly, but he never allows the wolf to starve. He keeps it lean, disciplined, ready, so when the moment of battle arrives, he is not trembling, but prepared. When someone provokes you, your first test is whether you can direct that surge. The weak man lashes out, scattering energy. The dangerous man channels it. He holds eye contact, breathes, and lets silence cut deeper than words. Then, when the right moment comes, he acts with precision. This is feeding the wolf, never denying the force within you, but mastering its hunger so it serves you instead of devouring you. Do not smother your inner predator. Train it, discipline it. Let it sharpen your edge rather than dull your soul. Feed the wolf, starve the sheep. Life is a chessboard, and every careless move writes your defeat long before you see it. Machiavelli warned that rulers who acted without calculation placed their fate in the hands of fortune, while those who planned carefully bent fortune to their advantage. Power is not secured through chance, but through forethought. The dangerous man does not move impulsively. He studies the board, considers outcomes, and acts only when he knows how the pieces will fall. To move without strategy is to hand the game to your opponent. To calculate is to force him into check before he understands the trap. In modern life, this board is everywhere. In negotiation, the one who anticipates the other side's objections already owns the advantage. In relationships, the one who sees patterns of behavior can set boundaries before damage occurs. In politics, the one who predicts shifts in loyalty can act decisively while others hesitate. Weak, move first and hope for luck. Strong, study the board and dictate the play. The dangerous man recognizes that life rewards not the fastest strike, but the strike prepared through layers of foresight. Imagine the chessboard alive, pieces breathing and waiting. Pawns are sacrificed not because they are worthless, but because their removal protects the king and clears the path to victory. The lesson is ruthless but clear. You cannot cling to everything. Some comforts, some attachments, even some opportunities must be given up so the greater strategy survives. Every sacrifice buys control of the center, secures the future, and shields what truly matters. Those who refuse sacrifice lose the board piece by piece, until nothing remains but regret. When confronted, do not rush to defend every square. Someone may challenge you, pressing for answers. Instead of reacting, pause. Like a player leaning back before moving a single piece, you let silence force the other to reveal their intent. Then, with calm precision, you act. This is not hesitation. It is mastery of rhythm. The board belongs to the man who controls tempo. Life is war disguised as strategy. Each choice is a move, each sacrifice a trade, each pause a calculation. See the game clearly, act with foresight, and remember that the throne belongs to the one who controls the board. Think like a king, move like a player, win like a predator. Willpower is iron. It bends under fire, hardens under pressure, and must be forged daily or it rusts into weakness. The ancients knew this. Stoics trained themselves to endure hunger, cold, and loss, so that fortune could not rule them. Spartans were hardened by relentless discipline, stripped of comfort to build men who would not break under war. Monks retreated into silence and austerity, using deprivation to cut away distraction and sharpen focus. Their ritual was suffering, and through suffering, they forged strength that no enemy could steal. History shows that the throne belongs not to the most talented, but to the one with the strongest will. In your world, the battles are quieter, but no less brutal. Comfort has become the enemy, and modern men are encouraged to sink into ease. But the dangerous man resists. He does not wait for hardship to arrive, he creates it deliberately. Cold showers teach the body that comfort is optional. Resistance training builds discipline as much as muscle. Strict routines carve structure into days that would otherwise collapse into chaos. Each act is a strike of the hammer against raw iron. The repetition, the friction, the controlled difficulty, these are not punishments but investments. Weak, avoid pain. Strong, use pain as a tool. Picture willpower as a blade on the forge. Heat is trial. Hammer is discipline. Water is rest. And reflection. Without heat, the blade never hardens. Without the hammer, it never takes shape. Without cooling, it cracks under pressure. The ritual of forging willpower demands all three: pressure, repetition, and renewal. You cannot build strength once and keep it forever. Like steel, the will must be sharpened constantly. Each morning you rise with discipline, you are hammering. Each temptation you resist, you are heating the iron. Each deliberate pause, you are cooling the blade so it does not shatter. There will be moments when others scoff at your rituals. They will call them unnecessary, too harsh, or obsessive. Do not argue, demonstrate. Your composure under stress will silence them. Your capacity to endure what they cannot will expose the difference. Strength speaks louder than defense. When storms arrive, they will break, and you will remain standing, sharpened by the fire you willingly entered. The dangerous man knows that power is not given, it is forged. The throne of self-mastery is built through ritual. Pain is not an enemy, but the forge that shapes you. Hammer the will until it becomes unbreakable. Machiavelli observed that princes who could not be bribed or seduced were the ones who secured their states. Gold, flattery, or temptation had no hold on them, and because they could not be bought, they could not be controlled. The dangerous man follows the same law. His strength does not rest in force alone, but in his refusal to be moved by what manipulates ordinary men. He does not need constant praise, he does not bow to wealth, and he does not surrender to the opinions of the crowd. Untouchability is the armor that shields him more effectively than any weapon. In modern life, this means cutting the invisible chains. Social approval is one of the strongest traps. When you hunger for likes, validation, or applause, you hand over your sovereignty. Money becomes another snare when it dictates every decision, making you a servant to numbers instead of a commander of them. The dangerous man uses wealth but does not kneel to it. He enjoys recognition but does not chase it. Weak. I need them to see me. Strong. I remain who I am, with or without their eyes. The ability to walk away from applause, temptation, and bait is what makes you immune to manipulation. Picture yourself in armor forged from iron so dense that arrows splinter on contact. Insults bounce off. Bribes shatter before they land. Seduction slides away without leaving a mark. This is not because you hide from the world, but because you have built inner walls so strong that nothing external can pierce them. You engage, but you never cling. You receive, but you never depend. That is the essence of untouchability. Moving through battle unscarred, because you gave no enemy a point of entry. When someone tries to provoke you into reaction, your strength is in restraint. Do not defend yourself against every arrow. Let silence and composure do the work. Your lack of reaction communicates more power than any counterattack. They will grow louder, angrier, or more desperate, but each attempt reveals their dependence. Hone your attention. Your calm proves they cannot reach you. To become untouchable is to live armored in sovereignty. No bribe, no insult, no promise can shift your throne. You remain still while others fight shadows. Build this armor daily by refusing dependency, mastering desire, and detaching from the traps of approval. Untouchable is the man who needs nothing. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. The truth behind these words cuts through time because it points to the essence of sovereignty. Fear here does not mean cruelty. It means respect earned through mastery, control, and presence. The final form of the dangerous man is not the loud tyrant, but the silent sovereign. He has conquered the throne of his mind, mastered the battlefield of mourning, learned to weaponize stillness, eliminated ruthlessly hidden intent behind the mask of command, sharpened his inner assassin, fed the wolf, calculated on the chessboard of life, and forged an iron will. All pieces now converge into the figure of a man untouchable, feared because he cannot be moved, respected because he cannot be owned. The cost of failure could not be higher. History is filled with men enslaved not by chains, but by impulse, distraction, and manipulation. Rulers who gave in to temptation lost kingdoms. Generals who hesitated lost armies. Leaders who sought approval over sovereignty collapsed under the weight of false love. In every case, weakness disguised as humanity became their downfall. The man who cannot govern his appetites is ruled by them. The one who cannot stand in silence is crushed by noise. The one who cannot detach from flattery is betrayed by it. These are not accidents of fate, they are failures of self-command. The world remembers them not as sovereigns, but as victims of their own indulgence. Now turn to the reward of mastery. The dangerous man who has walked through each principle carries a presence that bends rooms. When he enters, silence follows. Not because he demands it, but because his restraint creates gravity. Enemies hesitate, allies adjust, and even rivals measure their words more carefully. His aura does not shout, it commands. Fear becomes less about violence and more about the certainty that he cannot be swayed. Modern life recognizes this figure immediately. He is the one who does not rush to defend himself online. He is the one who refuses to beg for status or validation. He is the one who walks away from bribes and seductions because his direction is not for sale. Respect attaches to him because he carries no chains. Picture the final image. A throne rests, in shadow, not gilded with excess but fortified by silence. A crown sits beside him, heavy yet calm, symbolizing sovereignty rather than ornament. At his feet lies the wolf, loyal, disciplined, waiting for command. The air is tense, but he does not move. He rules not with constant motion, but with the patience of one who knows every piece on the board already belongs to him. Arrows launched at him shatter against invisible armor. Whispers dissolve before reaching his ears. The world may rage, tempt and test, but he remains unbroken. This is not fantasy. It is the final form of mastery, sovereignty of self that no enemy, no distraction, no flattery can penetrate. The dangerous man has become untouchable. He no longer plays by rules designed to trap the weak. He has built his own fortress, one guarded not by walls of stone but by discipline, silence, foresight and will. His presence alone unsettles. His restraint confuses, his decisiveness terrifies. He is feared not because of cruelty, but because of certainty. He is respected not because of charm, but because of unshakable control. He is remembered not because of what he took, but because of what he refused to surrender. This is where all principles converge, self-mastery, forged into sovereignty. If you fail, you live as prey, distracted, manipulated, enslaved by noise. If you succeed, you rise as a ruler, calm, untouchable, commanding through silence. The throne does not go to the loudest or the strongest. It belongs to the one who cannot be moved. Rule yourself completely and the world cannot touch you. Failure has a cost that no man can afford. Dependency breeds betrayal, and betrayal breeds insignificance. History is full of rulers who lost power not because their enemies were stronger, but because they leaned too heavily on others. When you depend on approval, wealth, or constant reassurance, you create openings for manipulation. The moment you need it, you become weak. The throne collapses not from invasion, but from within. Weak. I hope they choose me. Strong. I choose my path. The reward of mastery is sovereignty. When you rule yourself, you become free in a way most men never experience. You no longer beg for validation. You no longer crumble when approval is withheld. And you no longer trade your integrity for comfort. This is fearlessness, the power to act without chains. Modern life tempts you with traps, social applause, financial greed, the hunger to belong. But the dangerous man is immune because he measures his worth not by what others give him, but by what he refuses to surrender. Freedom is not granted. It is taken through discipline and preserved through self-rule. Picture the final image. A man sits on a throne, surrounded by shadows. No enemy dares to step closer, not because of weapons drawn, but because they cannot find an opening. His silence is his shield. His restraint is his fortress. The wolf at his feet waits patiently, knowing its master commands without speaking. He has reached the state where nothing external can shift him. His sovereignty is complete because it rests not on fortune, not on flattery, but on mastery of himself. This is your call. If you remain weak, you remain prey. If you choose mastery, you rise sovereign. The line is drawn, dependency or freedom, betrayal or loyalty, insignificance or sovereignty. The choice is yours, and no one can make it for you. Rule yourself with discipline, protect your throne with silence, and eliminate the chains that beg to bind you. The dangerous man is not feared for cruelty, but for clarity, because nothing owns him. Rule yourself, and no man can rule you.